that it somehow manages to be even midder than Fairy Tail.
Now that says something like...
mathematically. Then he marries a talking gorilla and a talking donkey.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Neonz React. So today we'll be reacting to the worst anime of 2022 by Mother Basement. So yeah, in 2022 I haven't actually watched much anime, so I'm pretty sure in this list I mostly don't know all of them.
Without doubt, 2022 is gonna go down in otaku history.
Yeah, there's a lot of good thing stuff and then worst stuff.
And not just in the high profile
Chainsaw Man,
like Demon Slayer and Chainsaw Man. We were equally
popular
blessed
one
with plenty of equally excellent original anime this year, plus tons of great niche manga and light novel adaptations.
I have never seen that
just about
one.
every interest and taste you can imagine. Truly, it was a year worth celebrating. And I'm sure someone will get to doing that eventually. But tonight, we're here to recognize and immortalize 2022's lowest lows. Not necessarily the year's trash, like what I roast every season, for trash can be good or bad. Terrible or
depending on
amazing,
what
depending on how it's executed. No, what unites tonight's anime is that they're all pure, unadulterated shit. And in order to make that distinction clearer, I've decided to change up the format this year to a more formal award ceremony type deal than the listy roasticles you're used to. It'll still be roasty, of course. I know what you guys come here for.
Yeah, we'll come here for like good stuff.
That tonight's show is just as spicy as you've come to expect. But now we got proper categories and stuff like that. Each one focusing on a different genre of shit. Not trash anime. Let's get to it, shall we?
I mean,
First
at some point, is it the same
top,
thing?
Award block, because there's simply no escaping it. We have Worst Isekai, which honors the anime
there's
this
a category
year that was
too.
the most isekai, but also the most bad. Well,
generic
the most
or something.
isekai is kind of a loose criteria. I mean, obviously,
bad as in it's very generic, or is it
Pupil of the Wise Man, in which a grown Japanese man gets trapped in a VR MMO fantasy world in the body of a little girl, and then has to go to the bathroom a whole lot. I mean, like, weirdly frequently, and they call attention to it way too much. But it just feels wrong not to also include shitty reincarnation fantasies like the strongest sage with the weakest crest, or the greatest demon lord is reborn as a typical
I read the manga and...
Yeah, technically it's not isekai, but come on.
Yeah, isekai is just like a fast food that you just eat.
Isekai is not really a genre at all, so much as it is a state of mind. You knows it when you see it,
it's a trope,
like how even without the other world or even reincarnation aspects of the story, it takes just one look at I've somehow gotten stronger when I improved my farming-related skills with its dopey OP protag-kun adventuring alongside a party of very eligible bachelorettes through a world very clearly inspired by video games to say, yeah, that's a fucking isekai right there. The very same can be said for Peter Grill Season 2, and that's kind of all I can say about Peter Grill Season 2 without walking into big demonetization territory, because not only is it up to all the same shameless sex comedy shenanigans as always, but now the entire first arc of that season is just one excruciatingly long, deeply unfunny reverse grape joke that it ripped off poorly from the Konosuba movie. A joke that farming-related skills also ripped off this year in a disquieting coincidence, and in even less funny fashion somehow.
I mean, like most isekai is just like light novel adaptation. In the light novel industry, there's a lot of like copying.
It would be real dumb of me to bring up World's End Harem right now, but I kind of gotta to make the case that it also counts as isekai. Like, even more than Peter Grill, arguably. I mean,
I never seen it as like isekai though.
Dude, then he wakes up in a world he doesn't recognize, surrounded by people he doesn't know. That's totally an isekai.
I mean, like, it's kind of not like fantasy
with
world.
How terrible the writing and production values in that show are, it's probably the strongest contender I've mentioned so far. I mean, not even the
plot is just all over the place.
It is bad. However, I only bring it up as the final rhetorical nail in the coffin of our real winner, The Forest of Evolution. The Fruit of Evolution is a, by and large, god-awfully unfunny, reincarnated in another world alongside my whole class type anime.
Oh yeah, very
like,
typical,
so I'm a spider,
I mean.
so what? Starring a nerd so nerdy that he's canonically considered subhuman until he eats enough of the titular fruits to evolve into a Kirito. Then he marries a talking gorilla and a talking donkey. And then, what's that you say? Fruit of Evolution came out last year? Yeah, I know, I made a bunch of videos about it. But Forest
I actually never do this
Fruit of
What?
Evolution NFT collection came out this April.
And, what?
I mean, if you guys will accept
NFT is down bad, but not this down bad.
Which you did, no takesies backsies, then it's simple logic to conclude that this arrangement of 100 ugly JPEGs that some anime studio interns slapped together in Photoshop totally counts as 100 frames of new anime content. At least as much as any given 100 frames of XR do. And once you accept that inescapable, unassailable truth, it becomes equally inescapable that the Forest of Evolution must be the worst thing to happen to isekai this year, because obviously NFTs are the worst thing that can happen to anything. Okay, maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, but still,
most like that's a lot of them.
The most degrading thing that I've seen happen to any anime characters this year, and I was literally just talking about Peter Grill and World's End Harem. Fruit of Evolution's producers should be utterly ashamed of themselves for tarnishing their art with such crass commercialism. Next up is one of our most prestigious prizes, because I said so, the Vadrock Award for literally being called Vadrock. Competition was fierce this year, with many worthy contenders, including Extreme Hearts, which kinda sounds like Extreme Farts. Girls Frontline, which sounds like how a toddler might describe the part of Vadrock that's not rock, and Yuri on Ice somehow. But ultimately, only Vazrock the Animation was literally called Vadrock the Animation in the original Japanese, and thus, after much deliberation, we simply had no other choice but to give it the prize.
Is it a comment?
And that's all I have to say, pretty much. I mean, this anime is literally about male idols sitting around in production meetings instead of doing anything that anyone might conceivably want to see a male idol do. It is, without doubt, one of the most excruciatingly boring anime that I have ever had to sit through in my entire life.
Bro,
which is one criticism I can't levy against the nominees for our next award, but it's just about the only one, because now we're given a nod to the shows that made us ask through either sheer baffling production incompetence, wildly unhinged storytelling, or a potent combination of both. Wait, was that anime even fucking real? We're talking incomprehensible eldritch anime horrors like The Legend of Mana, The Teardrop Crystal, an adaptation of the PS1 classic JRPG that's basically just all of the cutscenes without any new connective narrative tissue to replace all the gameplay.
Are they that lazy to just like do that? Wow, they are that lazy.
How someone could not think to do that in an adaptation, but then the art for the series is just gorgeous. So how the heck did those two things happen? A bewildering contradiction. Indeed. What, not mind-boggling enough for you? Okay, try Extreme Hearts, which takes the sports stars who are also idols gimmick that wannabe love lives have been playing around with lately to get attention to its logical extreme by envisioning a future where special cybernetically augmented sports gear allows anyone of any skill level to enjoy any sport, and thus idols are expected to be good at literally all the sports and compete against each other for our amusement if they ever want to become famous singers. My brain hurts just trying to form that sentence. Then there's Fantasia Sango, Realm of Legend, a shonen battle-y adventure-y type thing that paints by numbers so slavishly within the lines of its genre that it somehow manages to be even midder than Fairy Tail.
Oh, now that says something like
mathematically possible.
that says something when like you better than
can I
fairy
level
tale.
with you? This category is kind of just where I put all the anime that I felt entitled to complain about, but couldn't find another more logical place on the list for. Fantasia Sanga is just a deeply mediocre shonen anime. Not particularly crazy or weird in any way, just really, really hard to watch. Hardest to watch! That's what I should have called the category. That makes so much more sense.
Excruciating pain.
Well, we already got the trophy, so no going back now. And luckily, our winner, Freak Angels, packs more than enough mind-bending what the fuckery into just one episode. Hell, just one sentence to fully earn that trophy.
What is it about the apocalypse apparently that makes me so damn thirsty? Christ. What if I'm apocalypse pregnant? How fucking cliche.
Though, even with all the
voice
questions
acting
that quote raises, every last one can be instantly answered by the same two-word phrase. Crunchyroll original.
Wow,
Aside from that somewhat okay
that
Shenmue anime that they co-produced with Adult Swim, Freak Angels was the very last oily squirt to be pushed out of that doomed label. And as an embarrassingly unpolished, only technically made in Japan adaptation of a mediocre tween-edgy X-Men ripoff webcomic that was Tumblr popular around the turn of the last decade, it kind of embodies the broad cultural concept of what makes Crunchyroll originals so bad almost perfectly. Far more so than High Guardian Spice, which was actually just kind of mid, as are most Crunchyroll originals, but that's a subject for another video, which I already made, so I won't rehash it here. Now that I lay it all out like that, though, what with the main characters of this abysmally animated webcomic being psychics who act like they're better than everyone else all the time, Freak Angels is also kind of the exact opposite of Mob Psycho 100, if you think about it, especially when it comes to the animation. And as the polar opposite of one of the best anime this year and
Mob Psycho,
ever,
they're killing it, man.
Sense that Freak Angels would be one of the worst anime this year and also ever. But is it the absolute worst, or will another yet more horrible anime steal that shameful crown?
What?
Stay tuned to find out.
What is
Our
that?
next category also honors anime that we can't fully believe we actually watched, but for an entirely different reason this time. Most forgettable sports ball whatever goes to that probably shonen anime that most blandly embodies the youthful spirit of competition, friendship, rivalry, and proving all the haters wrong by being real good at a sport. Even, perhaps especially, if your biggest hater was you, and you quit that sport in middle school because of a bad experience you had, but then secretly, deep down, you always wanted to go back in.
That sounds kind of like generic.
I'm pretty sure that happens in at least one of the nominees for this category, Fanfare of Adolescence, Shoot Goal to the Future, and Futsal Boys, but I have no way to know for sure because they're all such strong contenders. Like, as soon as I finish watching any one of them and try to write anything about it, every last detail just slips right through my fingers like so many grains of sand. The bland visuals and blander characters all blending into this amorphous blob of tropes and inspirational cliches in my mind as I try in vain to remember which vaguely homoerotic rival was all serious and emo about it and which one was kind of like a sassy little bitch. To be perfectly honest, I can't even remember what sports these anime are about. Like, I want to say soccer, but a quarter of all sports anime are about soccer, so that's a super safe guess. And then, I think
there's horse racing
in one of them?
What?
Polo anime? No, that doesn't sound right. Ah, well, doesn't really matter what sport these anime are about. All that matters is that they took that sport and told the exact same story about an underdog who's secretly a sports genius that 1,000 other anime have told about other sports, or possibly the same sport, in an adequately unexceptional fashion. With animation that looked at best all right, sometimes probably,
decent,
and some second quality, which I'm sure I'll think of later while I'm recording. Yeah, that didn't happen. But one of them was even more unexceptional than all the others. And that one is... I honestly couldn't tell you. But whatever it was, it must have done a really good
must have
job.
forgot it.
There are worse things to be than forgotten.
Yeah,
are those
it was
who
so
wish to
forgettable
be
that he
hated.
actually
But
did
our
not realize.
penultimate prize of the evening recognizes anime that seemingly go out of their way to evoke that emotion on purpose, if you didn't know better. Biggest disappointment goes to the anime this year that really made it personal. An anime that doesn't just piss in your face, but has the gall to promise you lemonade first. An anime whose badness makes you want to scream rather than laugh, because for one split second, it tricked you into caring, and that makes everything terrible
yeah, you got
about
expectation, damn.
so much worse. Yes, this prize goes to the anime that stung the most of
betrayal! Betrayed me!
These feelings might come about because an anime lured you in with a sick OP or a strong pilot
with expectation
full of
and stuff,
cool action, only to quickly devolve into the epitome of mediocrity as it went on, totally squandering any of the potential of the source material. Or maybe they were able to keep up the general aesthetic, but it turns out the big, crazy, dark magic stuff that the first episode was promising was just a teaser for shit that only happens in the story of the mobile game, which then makes all of the relaxing slice of life stuff that you sat through for the rest of it feel like a cock-teasing waste of time, even if it wasn't really that bad for what it was.
Clickbaited in some way. This is just like you just got
even
clickbaited.
Ones with ReZero character designs can only ever really disappoint you so much. You got to adapt something that people actually love if you want to cut them that deep. Like what happened with the Muv-Luv alternative anime, which is not only just a complete embarrassment from a production standpoint, but also starts like
anime style seemed like it was like in
into a
2016 or 2015 or something.
Storyline with zero context for anyone who hasn't already played the games, like me. So, obviously this one doesn't hurt me that much personally, but it was brutal to
like
get
the animation
through what
style
I
kind of
watched of it. But even if I was a Muv-Luv
right
fan,
now,
that disappointment would pale in comparison to the absolute cultural tragedy that is our winner.
You were the chosen one!
This seems
Lucifer and the
familiar.
Biscuit Hammer by the god of manga, Satoshi Mizukami-sama himself, is an absolute masterpiece of the highest order. The tale of an ordinary guy caught up in extraordinary events that he couldn't possibly give less of a shit about, even with the fate of the entire world literally hanging in the balance in the form of a massive planet-cracking cartoon mallet several thousand miles overhead. A surreal seinen subversion of shonen action
I'm confused.
that delivers some of the best jokes and most emotional gut punches in the entire medium of manga, which is something I can say for all of Mizukami's work. Like, seriously, I can't emphasize this enough. 3 of the greatest stories that I have ever been told in my entire life, Planet With, Spirit Circle, and this one, came out of the same living Buddha's mind.
I've never heard this one.
With this one,
I mean, I don't know if it's
being
like
the
sarcasm
most
or if it's
ideal
actually being
vehicle in
real
terms of
serious.
both its simplified character designs and its more action-oriented subject matter for a full Mob Psycho 100 tier action animation extravaganza. But instead, they turned it into this. Fugly 2D animation, even worse CGI, god-awful writing and pacing that takes a machete to the original's delicately woven
feels just like
character and
After
plot threads. Everything an adaptation can get wrong, this one does. It is almost as fundamentally unwatchable as Gibiate. Only the raw brilliance of the story on which it's based, which is still bright enough on occasion to shine through even all the dog shit that's been smeared all over the screen, saves it from being an X-Arm tier disaster. But of course, that only makes it more worthy of this trophy.
Biggest disappointment.
Because if they had done the source material justice, there is not a doubt in my mind that Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer would have been my Anime of the Year nominee. Alongside Chainsaw Man,
No,
Mob Psycho 100, Kaguya-sama
yeah, that's like a
Ultra
lot
Romantic,
of things that compared
Cyberpunk
to
Edge Runners,
so
Bocchi the Rock,
oh
Akiba
yeah,
Made War, My
Cyberpunk Edge
Dress Up
Runner.
Darling, and Ranking
I
of
totally
Kings.
forgot about that.
God
Like, it's
damn,
happened in
this year was
2022.
stacked. But instead of
Jesus, there's a
contributing
lot,
to that
yeah.
stackedness as it so rightfully should, fucking Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammers out here making a giant stack of shit on my carpet. Holy fucking ass! This anime makes me so mad. I'm going full AVGN. We're about to verbally sodomize some circus animals up in here. You know what? Fuck it. I was gonna do like a big rundown of all the nominees to build tension before finally announcing the #1 Big Kahuna worst anime of the year, but I'm all riled up now, so let's just cut the bullshit. Lucifer
right
and the
into
Biscuit
it.
Hammer also wins this one. Or loses, I guess, depending on your perspective. It's not quite X-Arm bad, but it is right on the cusp. And sure, Freak Angels may be an objectively worse production on basically every level, but that series transgressions against edgy, try-hard,
what the
boring
fuck?
LS
What
webcomic
the
bullshit
what?
ultimately pale in comparison to the crimes that this anime commits against a literal storytelling god who, again, on no less than 3 occasions, changed the way I look at literally everything, especially myself. They took something that
Wow, like the
beautiful and
storyline was like
turned it into
amazing,
this-
guys.
just this
He's
elephant
just-
anus load
yeah.
of crab-riddled fuckballs. This unbelievable projectile
I'm guessing like they fuck it up
torrent
like the
of
pace
greasy
and stuff.
ballpark diarrhea. This fucking torturing auger of a fucking chihuahua.
Okay, we get it,
I'd
bro.
rather sound the entire
Yeah, we get it,
Super
okay.
Galaxy Daiguren drill. I'd rather be a harem protagonist's therapist.
Now
I'd
that
rather
says
eat the
something that you'd
fucking
rather be a
sentient
harem protagonist than like
leftovers
in
from Cowboy
Jeez.
Bebop. I fucking hate this anime so much, it just makes me wanna.
Well, damn, that is indeed some of the worst anime in 2022. Like, I only know a little bit, like some of them, like most of them, I haven't even actually watched yet. So yeah, and I just realized that like in 2022, there's a lot of good stuff, and there's also like some of like worst stuff. But mostly, some of like the worst stuff is not as like comparable to the other year. So yeah, click here to watch more of my content. Thank you for watching. It's been your boy Neonz. Goodbye.